Okay, so welcome everyone again. My name is Raghdah Zakariya, and I am a Link Ministries Secretary. Today I will be teaching you about just some success skills that will be helpful in your upcoming school year. If you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and ask them either during the presentation or after. If you need some more clarification, just feel free to ask. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen. Okay. So the presentation today is called Critical Skills for Missional Pastoral School, MPS. And this presentation is prepared by me and one of my colleagues. So we'll get right into it. So the agenda of today, we'll do some introductions and we'll go over what is academic honesty and then some critical skills for success, the writing process, how to write essays, and then also we'll teach you a little bit about the APA 7th edition and references. This is citation, and then we'll give you some information on how to contact us if you have any questions. So starting with introductions. So if we can briefly just say your name and what you do. I'm gonna go first. So my name is Raghdah and I'm a student at university here in Toronto, and today I will be giving you this presentation. So if you'd like to unmute yourself and just say your name and what you do, if you have a job or if you're a student, so that we can get to know each other.
Hi, my name is Mo Aflatunian, and I'm a controller at a major manufacturing company in Fergus, and I'm here to be one day become a pastor.
Great, thank you, Mo.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Paul Amin. I'm a missionary and a apologetic TV host, and I am here to one day becoming a pastor for the Muslim background believers.
Thank you, Paul. That's great. Who wants to go next?
Hi, my name is Hanin. I'm currently a student in a university in Toronto, and I'm here to actually maybe be a missionary and just learn.
Sounds good. Thank you, Hanin.
Hi, my name is Hoda, and I work as a pharmacist, and I'm here to be a missionary, and that's all.
Thank you, Huda. That's great.
My name is Ghaith. I am working with the deliveries, and I am here just to learn and know more about Jesus.
Awesome. Thank you, Ghaith.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rebecca. I think some of you know me. And I'm a graphic designer and also part of the administration in ABN TV network. And I'm here today to learn more about Bible and how to be a better evangelist.
That's great. Thank you, Rebecca. So we're going to move on to the next slide. So starting with academic honesty. Does anyone know what is academic honesty? Just in simple words.
Just, I guess, whatever you say you're doing, you actually have done it. Ethics, be professional, and don't copy paste.
Yeah, that's actually very good. So we've heard about honesty. Honesty means to be honest, to be true to the to the thing that you're talking about, to not lie, basically. So when we say academic honesty, we're talking about the academics world, school, writing, reading, anything that has to do with school. That's called like academic, and then you have to be honest as you are doing the academics. So I'm gonna go over these questions, and we'll learn more about what is academic honesty. So first question is why academic honesty is important. Then what is academic dishonesty? So honesty is being truthful. Dishonesty is basically not being truthful. And then number 3 is how to avoid academic dishonesty. That was supposed to say dishonesty. And then what information do you need to cite and what information you don't need to cite. So we'll go through these questions. Number 1 is why academic honesty is important. So there's a lot of words here, and just keep in mind that I'll be sharing with you this PowerPoint presentation so you can read in details. But basically is school environment is about learning, about challenging your thoughts, about learning new ideas, about the things that are already true. So in scholarship and in research, as you are doing research and writing papers, you have to be reading and transporting the ideas from the text to your paper in an honest way and be truthful to the text. And if you don't do that, basically you're committing academic dishonesty and your paper is not valid anymore because you were not truthful to the sources that you were citing. When you enter the academic world, you are considered to be like a colleague, another person in the academic world. You're equal to any professor or teacher, but the only difference is that you don't have as much experience as probably the senior teachers that you have. But that doesn't mean you cannot be academically honest. So you are just a junior in the sense that you lack experience, but you are equal in the sense that everyone in the intellectual community, they must have serious and genuine commitment to encounter knowledge and explore biblical ways of thinking. Does that make sense? Do you guys have any questions about this slide? Okay, I think that was good. So what is academic dishonesty? So basically you fail to acknowledge sources. You're not giving credits to authors. So for example, if you're reading a book and you take an idea from that book and you put it in your paper, but you don't say that I got this idea from this book, but you're saying that I got this idea from myself, that's basically academic dishonesty. What you need to do instead is when you take an idea from a book or an article, you need to cite that book or that article in your work and then make connections to the ideas that you already have. So that you are academically honest.
May I add something to that, Raghdah?
Yeah.
You need to create a footnote and add a reference to the book, the author and the edition, and also the year of the book was written and published.
Yeah. We'll be going through these informations in detail as we go, but this is just a broad idea for now, just to get you understand the concept. So that when you are moving on in these points, when you are academically honest, you're allowing the reader, which in this case is the teacher, to understand where your ideas are coming from, and also to understand, to check and assess if you have borrowed the ideas correctly. So when you're reading a book, you have to always understand the context of the book, and then you can't kind of twist the ideas that you're reading in the book to kind of go with your ideas. You have to be truthful to the ideas of the book and transfer them in a truthful manner. So you're not changing them, you're just transferring them into your own assignment. And then the golden rule here is always cite your sources. And other ways to be academically dishonest is failure to use direct quotations. So you're taking a quote from a book, but you're not properly citing it. So that's like academic dishonesty. And then creating and using fictitious sources. So you're basically coming up with sources that do not exist just to back up your argument. That's basically academic dishonesty. Recycling another student's work, so basically that's plagiarism. If you're taking like a paper from someone else and like you claim as your own, that is plagiarism. That's academic dishonesty. So, and then lastly is working with others on an assignment when you're not meant to. Sometimes some of your teachers will tell you this assignment is group work, so you will work in groups. But if they don't say that, the default is that this assignment is to be worked on individually. So you can't work in groups on an individual assignment. And if you do, then that's academic dishonesty. So just keep these ideas in mind. Some of you probably know these ideas, some of you don't. So if you have any questions on this slide, just let me know. Is this clear?
Yep.
Okay, great. So how to avoid academic dishonesty. So now we know what is academic dishonesty, what to do to avoid it. So basically give credits when using someone else's ideas, opinions, theories, or materials. So if you're using a photo, a graphic, an idea, or anything from a book or an article, you will cite it. And then when you cite it, you're in the safe, you're academically honest. You have to do your own work. That's a given. Basically, don't copy and paste from the internet. Do not reuse past assignments, including your own assignments. So sometimes in a course, you're asked to write a paper that you have already written a similar paper in the past. You can't use that paper word by word. You can take some ideas from it and translate it into the new paper, but you can't reuse previous assignments the way they are. And then do not complete assignments for other students. That's, again, a given. So you do your own work and then talk to your teacher. And then when you talk to your teacher, you'll be like, if I take this idea and put it here, would it match my thought process? And the teacher will be able to kind of guide you in that sense so that you are in the safe. Is this slide clear? Okay. So what information you do not need to cite? So there's this very popular Bible passage that says, nothing is new under the sun. Not just biblical scholars use that, but also academics. So what that means, basically, all the ideas that are out there, they have been out there since they have been out there. So there's nothing new. It's always, we are always recycling ideas. We're always changing and editing some ideas, but at the end of the day, whatever idea you have, probably someone else have thought about it before you. So for these ideas that are not new, but they're considered like public knowledge, you do not need to cite them. So for example, this information is Ottawa is the capital of Canada. So this idea is public knowledge, like almost everyone knows this. But sometimes public knowledge is different from a person to another. So for example, if you're talking from someone from South Africa, they will probably not know if Ottawa is the capital of Canada. So you have to be kind of careful in what you consider public knowledge. And if you're not sure if this information is public knowledge or not, you just need to find a source that says this knowledge and cite that source, so that you're citing it, you're confirming the information and you're citing it. Does that make sense? Okay. So what information do you need to cite? So basically, if you're discussing, summarizing, paraphrasing the ideas of an author. So for example, you're reading the book and you found an idea that's really, really good, but this idea, the author has expressed it through a chapter. He did not express it through a sentence. So what you do is you're going to summarize the whole chapter in your own paper, but then the summary has to be cited. Or you would discuss the ideas of authors, or you will paraphrase sometimes sentences. So that all of these, you need to cite them. And then also number 2, direct quotations. So sometimes you read a sentence and the sentence cannot be, like, the sentence is just perfect for you to use it in your paper and you don't want to change in it. Sometimes they are definitions or way of playing with words or poetically using words. You can use them as direct quotations, but you have to cite them. If you have statistical or other data like numbers, graphics, all of these stuff that you also need to cite, images, videos, or other media. So all of these you need to cite. Sometimes, just going back to the first point, as you are summarizing or paraphrasing, a quick tip that helps you kind of summarize is you read a chapter or a paragraph, and then if you want to put it in your own words, just don't continuously read it. Just read it once, put it on the side, and then try to use your own words to write it down. Because if you read a chapter or a paragraph again and again and again, you will not have your own ideas on how to express it. But if you read it once and get the gist of it, and then use it in your own words, that would be very helpful for you to summarize and paraphrase. So when citing an article, you need the following information. But sometimes not all of these information are available. So we will, at the end of the presentation, towards the end, we'll go through some examples on how to cite. But in general, these are the information. You need the author's names. Sometimes you have more than one author, the articles or the book's title, and then volume. Sometimes if it is a chapter from an art, like a large book chapter, you need the volume of the chapter, issue number of the journal as it appears on it, date of publication, page numbers, so from this page to that page, and then DOI. So sometimes some articles or books are available online, so you need the DOI number. And all these information might seem a lot, but they're always available at the, like as you're reading the book, they're always available there on an article. So I'll give you some examples as we move forward. You guys have any questions about this slide? Okay, nice. So now we're gonna go into critical skills for your success. So I've highlighted these 6 skills that I think they are very, very important to help you succeed in general in school setting. So we'll go over each one of them, and sometimes you already know the information, and sometimes you're just learning something new. So if you have any comments or questions, just let me know. I always like to use this analogy of climbing a mountain. So whenever you're starting school, schoolwork, classes, lectures, they seem like a big mountain, big burden on you. But this mountain should be climbed one step at a time. So, and that's the analogy that you have to keep in mind as we're going through these skills. These skills are very important, but in order to excel in them, you need to practice them. Practicing comes step by step. Just imagine you're going up to the mountain. If you just stand there staring at the mountain, you can't get to the top. But if you take it step by step, then you can get to the top. And then another thing that you need to keep in mind is the SMART acronym, which is number 1 is be specific in your studying skills. Who, what, when, where, why. These are some questions you can ask yourself as you're exploring these skills. And then measured, you have to measure your time, measure what ideas are relevant, what you need to spend your time on. And then achievable, you have to set goals that are achievable. They are challenging, but not impossible. Relevant, so we'll talk about this more in the note-taking skills. So you have to take courses within the context of courses. Think the information that are relevant so that you don't waste your time with broad ideas that are irrelevant to your course. And then time management is really, really important one. That keeps you accountable and makes you finish your work on time. So this is the SMART acronym. So starting with time management skills. So creating term schedule. So after you get your courses, you know the times, the dates, the best thing is to do next is to create a term schedule of when are your classes, what times you will be using to study, what times are for break, And you can also include in that schedule some of the tasks that are non-school related, like if you have a doctor's appointment, if you have job, you need to commit to that. So it's always better to have your time on a schedule, on a paper or on your computer. It's better than have it in your head, because when it's in your head, it's a lot. It's like that big mountain. But when it's on paper or on your computer, then you're kind of knowing what to do at what time, and that helps you kind of regulate your time. So schedule regular studying time and reading, going through your assignments, review the lectures within 24 hours of the class. This is a very important one. So for example, if you have a lecture and you have attended this lecture and you know kind of the information that were shared, always try to review that lecture within 24 hours of that class. That helps you to retain the information and to kind of keep it in, like, within you, so that at the end, when there's like a test or an assignment, you don't go through the lectures one by one at the last minute. You kind of have already an idea of the lecture. So this is a very important tip. And your schedule needs to be flexible, because a lot of times we have emergencies, we have out of control situation or circumstances. So at the end of the term or the month, if you did not stick to the schedule hour by hour, that's okay, because emergencies do happen. And then noisy places can be studying places. Sometimes we think that I can only focus and study when I am in a quiet place, or I'm in my room, or I'm having my coffee, or I am in my comfort place. But try to stay away from that idea and try to think that even the subway can be a studying place, library can be a studying place, even when you're listening to music, that can be a studying place. It depends on what you're doing. If you're doing an assignment or doing a reading or watching a video, just open your mind to the possibility that anywhere can be a studying place. And then obviously on the schedule, term schedule, you have to mark the due dates of your assignments, when you will study all of that. That's very important so that you can see it. It's not just in your head. Okay, so next, creating task assessments for assignments. So what that means basically is you have an assignment and it's due in like 2 weeks. So what you need to do, going back to the analogy of climbing a mountain, you have to kind of break down that assignment into steps so that you will be able to complete it, because that's easier, so that you don't feel like guilty of not starting, and you don't feel like you have to rush things at the last minute. So you need to, the breakdown of the assignments has to be divided into 2 things. Number 1 is the individual steps that needs to be taken to complete it. And then number 2 is the amount of time needed to complete each step. And that is an estimate, because some people are better in some steps than others. And then both stages require practice. And both is wrong here. Yeah, both stages require practice. So don't be hard on yourself if you didn't do it from the first time. Always keep in mind that you have to practice. So let's go through an example. So this is an example of an assignment. This is the question is, write a research 5-page critical essay on how historical factors covered by the course affect how we move, display, judge, and or label human bodies in contemporary society. So when you read this, it sounds like a lot of information and a lot of elements that are playing parts in this. So what you need to do is to make steps on how you will approach this. And steps are here. So basically, step number 1 is review the course material to clarify what historical factors have been covered. So if you know there's like 5 historical factors, then they are on paper and you know like what idea belongs to what factor. And then number 2 is research the topic. Sometimes it's always better to, like me personally, when I don't know a lot about a topic, I just go on YouTube, type in the title and listen to what other people have to say about it, just to get a broad perspective on the topic. So you're researching the topic. That can be broad research like YouTube, or specific research through actually going to the internet and researching about it. And then after you have done these 2, then you would write a draft of the essay. And then draft is a draft, and it's always better to start it a little bit early so you have the time to kind of edit it And then number 4 is spell check to produce the final draft, basically. And then when you're writing the draft of the essay, if you finish it ahead of time, then you can discuss your ideas with the teacher, and that gives you an edge, because like the teacher can give you a little bit of feedback on what ideas needs to be changed, what things needs to be added, and that's helpful so that you get a better grade. And then final tips on time management. So basically, different students feel comfortable with different steps. So something you need to estimate, like sometimes when you know that you're not good in doing research, you have to allocate more time into that specific step so that you're confident when it comes to kind of finishing the assignment. And then finish your assignment ahead of time so that you can give yourself room to make changes. Just as I was saying before, sometimes you can consult your teacher, and you have to start your assignment as soon as possible, even if you just do the first step at the first day and then second step and moving on. You have to get it into your schedule, as we've discussed before, the term schedule. So when many assignments are due around the same period, it's always wise to allocate your time to what assignment carries the higher percentage in terms of marks, and then spend more time on that one. So if you have an assignment that is worth 40% of your final grade, an assignment that's worth 5% of your final grade, they're due at the same day, you will probably work more on that's worth 40% so that you can get a good grade. The one that's worth 5%, it's not as important. And to avoid being in that situation, always start your assignments as early as possible. So for the time management skills, does anyone have any questions on this? Okay, so let's go to active listening skills. Active listening, what is the difference, in your opinion, between active listening and passive listening? Can someone tell me the difference, if there is any, without reading the slide?
Active listening has you show reaction to the person who is talking. It can be by nodding head, or it can be by just confirming or asking questions. It shows that you are actually listening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, as Rebecca said, it's basically participating, meaning that just be engaged in the conversation.
Yeah, that's good. So when you hear the word the listening, what comes to mind is our ears, when we listen with our ears. But when it comes to active listening, our ears are not the main thing that we need. We need our brain, actually, just to listen, our mind, because we can hear through our ears, but if we don't process the information through our minds, we're not really actively engaging with the information. So active listening is getting our minds to understand the ideas, and as you're listening to them. So it's not just like you heard an idea and like it came from this ear and left from that ear. No, it actually has to travel to your mind so that it stays with you. And then passive listening is basically you're just there and you're just hearing a noise, or like you're hearing the words. You're not trying to understand the deeper meaning of them, and you're not making connection to these ideas to the broader themes of the course. So always try to be an active listener and not a passive listener, because that's how you would learn. So how to become an active listener? So understanding equals noticing connections or disconnections between ideas. So you're basically always asking yourself, how is this idea related to the course in general? And how is this idea not related to the course? And how does this idea agree with the content of the course or kind of create disagreement? So you're always critically thinking at the back of your mind as the teacher is like explaining ideas. So questions to ask yourself. So as I was saying, how does this point connect to the topic? How does this example clarify the issue? A lot of teachers like to use examples. So why is the teacher repeating this point again and again? This is a very important hint. some teachers like to repeat an idea in like multiple lectures or classes. That gives you a hint of the significance of this idea. And then how does this topic fit into the overall theme of the course? So you're always asking yourself these questions, and these questions will lead you to become an active listener. Okay, so more tips to become an active listener is do the assigned readings before class, so you can keep in your mind the ideas that you learn. So one of my high school teachers was always telling us to, if you do the readings before class, you have probably learned 40% of the class of that lecture. And then as you're attending the class, you learn the other 60%. And these ideas that you learn, they stay with you. They're not passively gonna go away because you're actively engaging with them. So during class, don't worry about getting all the information down, all these examples, these small ideas. Focus on the important ones and try to make connections. Always make connections between the ideas and the readings. And just like you're making connections between the ideas that you understand, also take note of the ideas that you don't understand or disagree with, or you're interested in or excited to learn about. And then you can discuss them later with your classmates or your teacher, or you can just research more about them. Do not arrive late, because when you're late to class, I know the classes will be on Zoom, so do not log in late. Because when you log in late, you're not there at the beginning, and we all know that's not good. And then you have to kind of study the teacher, because different teachers have different personalities, they have different styles of teaching. So sometimes some teachers like to give you a lot of readings, and they want you to learn through readings. Some teachers like to give you information through listening to like YouTube videos. So you have to learn the teacher and observe their like teaching style so that you can excel in their class. And then you're doing everything through Zoom. So I highly encourage you to open your camera and remove all distractions from your room. So opening your camera, I don't think it's like a hardcore requirement. We have much more things to worry about than this. But when you open your camera, you are saying in your actions that you're engaged in the lesson, you are there, you're listening, and it helps you stay accountable to yourself and to the teacher. And then you remove all distractions, and the biggest one is your phone. If you're using your laptop, just try to like mute your phone during the class, because classes are usually like 1 hour long, so you can stay away from your phone for 1 hour. So these are helpful tips. So now, before we go into this, so does anyone have any question about active listening skills? Okay, so let's go to note-taking skills. This is a big one. What I like to use here is the mind map. Does anyone know what's a mind map? So basically a mind map is, as the name suggests, is the map of your mind. So let's just say your lecture is about righteousness of God. So righteousness of God will be here the main topic. And then as you're listening to the lecture, you're kind of just connecting the ideas from your mind to the paper in a graphic way, because that would help you kind of make connections between ideas. Again, you have to always make connections. So the main topic is righteousness of God, and then subtopic would be the blood of Jesus, for example, another subtopic, like whatever, how many subtopics there will be. And then for each subtopics, like there's like 1 or 2 ideas. So after the lecture or after the class, you would have a really good idea of like the overall idea of the lecture and how it translates to your understanding. And it's like a visual record of your thoughts. And notice also that these mind maps have questions, because as you're learning the lecture, you always have questions or have some ideas that you don't know a lot about. So also record your questions in your mind maps. That would help you to discuss them later with the teacher, or to kind of research more about the topic, so that, because later when you come to review the lecture, you might not have the same questions, you might forget about them, but if you record them, they will stay with you. So do you guys understand the idea of mind maps? Okay. So these are examples of mind maps. This is a mind map. You're basically connecting ideas. Some people also like to write them down in points forms. So these are just suggestions, and at the end of the day, see what is your learning style and how you learn as a person, and how you can kind of translate it the best way to your learning process. So yeah. So does anyone have any questions about note-taking skills?
I just would like to say something about the mind map. I think it's like writing the notes in a way that like, or drawing them, or as you said, creating a graphic, the way that your mind works. Maybe you already mentioned it, but how you see it in your mind, or how it helps you to remember it, I think is the best way. It's not that there is a particular way, or there is a best way that all of us should do it. So each person has a different style to take the
Yeah.
good.
Definitely agree. Sometimes people use symbols like stars or circles, colors. You have different color highlighters, different color pens. So yeah, you just have to kind of find your own way of learning and apply it to your, because you have to be intentional in everything that you do in school. So in note-taking and listening and writing and reading. And when you are intentional, that's how you succeed. Okay, so active reading skills. So when you have a reading of, let's just say, 10 pages, when you look at it, it's like a reading of 10 pages, and it's probably very important. So that, like, we can imagine the reading being that big mountain that we need to climb. And that week you feel like you don't have as much time to go through every idea in the reading. So what you need to do is, if the reading is long or short, you need to use these techniques, and if you use them correctly, you don't have to go into much details in every reading. So number one is scan the title, see what the title is about, and then scan the headings. So in each book or each article, if there is a title, let's just say the title is, let's go with the Bible. The title is the Bible. And then the headings would be the chapters of the Bible. So there's Genesis, there is Leviticus, John, Matthew, all of these. These are the titles, the headings, sorry. And then you have to scan the introduction and conclusion. So in each article, there is like a short paragraph at the beginning saying what is the introduction. And then at the end, there is also a paragraph saying what's the conclusion. So if you understand the introduction, you will also understand the conclusion. You kind of have a really good idea of the reading. And then after you do that, scan the entire reading for the main ideas and arguments. So the main argument, like the author will highlight the main argument in the introduction, and in the body of the article or the book, the author will provide points to back up his argument. So you can just scan through the main points and the arguments that the author is making. And then again, reflect on connections onto other readings and also the themes of the course. Because you are doing that reading, the teacher has assigned that reading for a purpose and objective. You have to understand how is that reading connected to the course. And then scan the reading slowly and carefully. The last step is, if you did all of these steps, the last thing is to do just to scan, like going through each idea, each sentence, each thing, so that you have a really good grasp on the book. What you need to do is do steps 1 to 5 before the class, so that you kind of have a good idea of the reading if you don't have the time to read the whole thing, and then do step number 6 after class, so that you kind of enrich your understanding after you listen to the lecture. Okay, so does anyone have any questions about active reading skills? Okay, research skills. Number 1, read and understand assignments or assignments instructions. This is very, very important, because you don't want to do the whole assignment and then you have misunderstood the instructions of the assignment. You don't know the purpose of the assignments. Then you have to do the whole thing again. So the most important thing is to read and understand the assignment and ask questions if you're not clear. So again, break down the research process into steps, as we've discussed before. We've gone through the steps. I'm not going to go through them again. And then outline your own main ideas. And then through outlining your ideas, you can use the mind map to do that. So like your topic and then for example, 3 main ideas. And if you don't have like a broad understanding of the topic, watch a YouTube video, read simple articles. This will help you understand the broad picture of the subject area. And then as you do that, then you would research via the internet. One of the best places to research is Google Scholar. So you type in Google Scholar, and then that's a research engine that you can find a lot of articles in. And then be careful in what sources you choose to cite, because in reality, anyone can create content online, anyone can put ideas online, but you have to know like if this article or this book is actually from a trustworthy source, if it is like professional enough, usable for your purposes, it has a strong arguments, it has ideas that you agree or disagree with, and they are well presented. And then after you carefully choose your sources, you have to evaluate them. So as you're looking at a source, you have to understand the writer's thesis, the main argument that they're making, and compare the strengths and weaknesses of the writer argument to your own work. And then always critically think of what you're reading and what you're trying to argue in your own paper. And as you're doing that, if you're confused or anything, always consult with your teacher, because they're the ones who will be able to help you. So basically at the end, the SMART acronym is there. It's very important. You can look at it again. So now let's go through the writing process. First, we'll go the first draft, second draft, final draft. You don't really have to do all these drafts, but this is just like a guideline for you to understand where you're coming from. So the first draft is basically brainstorming. That can be like the mind map that we've talked about. The main ideas, and like make arrows and symbols on connections that you make. And then this is the first draft, brainstorming, and then revise. So the second draft is basically taking these ideas and writing them in paragraphs. And sometimes you would write them in points forms just to have all of your ideas in. So it's not just drawings on paper, but they're actually ideas in sentences. And then the third draft or the final draft is basically proving, like reading your paper and your ideas and connecting them in a way that makes sense. So that sometimes it makes sense to you, but it doesn't make sense to the reader because they're kind of scattered. So in this third draft, try to always have some time separation between the second and the third, because so that you're coming in with a fresh perspective, and you will be able to kind of see the spelling mistakes, see where the ideas are disconnected, and connect them. And that is possible if you start the assignment early on. So essays, as we all know, or most of us know, they have introduction, the body, the conclusion. So thesis and thesis statements are usually in the introduction. So thesis statements means the argument that the author is making or that you are making. For example, if your assignment is saying, do you agree or disagree with the following statement? Your thesis statement will be, I agree with the following statement because of 1, 2, 3. So for example, let's just say the assignment is called, do you agree that Canada is cold? Your thesis statement will be, I agree that Canada is a cold country because of the snow, because of this and that. Or you would say, I do not agree with the statement that says Canada is cold because Canada has a very warm winter. So basically, thesis statement is your argument. You're either agreeing or disagreeing with the question of the assignment. And then also we'll go over some common mistakes with arguments. Yeah. So essay outline. So this outline can be your second draft. So basically the introduction paragraph. The introduction always starts with the very first sentence of the introduction is the hook. We like to call it that, so that when a reader is reading your essay, they will be hooked when they read the very first sentence. The very first sentence is usually very interesting, very thought-provoking, very makes the reader curious to read the content of your essay. And then the second part will be the background information. So just general background information about the topic. And then the introduction will end with thesis statement. Thesis statement is your claim, is your argument. Thesis statement has to be like that you're saying, like, I agree or disagree that Canada is cold. So it's a statement. It's not like it's an opinion statement. So because you have to back it up with evidence. So it's something that people can agree or disagree with. And and after you read it and you think that people cannot agree or disagree with it, then your thesis statement probably needs some editing. So it's basically for introduction, and then body paragraph 1. So your body paragraph 1, 2, 3, they're basically points to back up your thesis statement. So if we are talking about, if your thesis statement is saying that Canada is a cold country, then body paragraph number 1 will say your first point of why you claim that, and then body paragraph number 2 will say your second point, and then number 3 will be your third point to agree with your statement. And then conclusion paragraph is restating the thesis statement. So in different words, saying what you're arguing from here, just say different words, and then review the 3 main points. You're basically using few sentences to summarize your 3 main arguments. And then at the end, it's like you're leaving the reader with interesting thoughts about your statement. So you might ask at the end, like, open-ended question, or you make very interesting statements about the topic, just to get the reader to kind of think above and beyond what was just written in the essay. So now we're going to talk about citations and references. The citation that we will use in the school is APA 7th edition citation. And then in order to do that, we will do in-text citation, reference list, paper formatting in general. So the thing is, with citation, it cannot really be taught unless you take your time and go through the sources that I will give you to learn from it. And then even as you're learning from it, as you're writing your paper, you will still have to go back to these sources and make sure that you're citing them correctly, using the correct citation to do your work. So here I'll give you just general information, some examples, but your homework is to actually go in depth and learn more through the website that I will give you, because it is very helpful. So in-text citation, basically, let's imagine this is a paragraph in your paper. So the red ones are the in-text citations. So let's say your book is written by these 2 authors, Tang and Pierce. So when you have 2 authors, you would write and, the symbol of and then comma, year, the year of publication, and then comma, and then page, the page number of the book. This is basically in-text citation. Sometimes if you're writing a sentence, you can separate these. So you can say Stein, which is another author, 2018 studied whether the early stuff of Alzheimer did all of that, and then at the end you write the page number. So you can divide them, but as long as you have all the information there, that's what means to be academically honest. So yeah, this is an example. Now going through the essay formats, the fonts that you will use are always Times New Roman 12. I will show you an example of an essay right after. So I will tell you exactly how that looks like. And then headers, you don't need running headers. I'll also tell you what that means on the paper. Tables and figures. So basically, there's a standardized way or format to reference the tables and figures. You will also find that on the website. And style, grammar usage. As you're writing the essay, you have to always double check if you can write your essay using the first person, which means I or me or you or they. If you're allowed and it's like a reflection essay, then you can use I think that this person is so and so. But if you're not allowed to use the first person, you have to say you can't use I or you or they or we, because sometimes when you use these, if you say we believe that Canada is cold, the reader doesn't really know exactly what you mean by the word we, because we can be anyone, can be Canadians, can be people from all around the world. So you just have to be specific on this and understand if the essay, if the assignment is reflection, your own thoughts, or if the essay is using the third person pronoun. So then you can't really say I or we and they. And then citation style. So you, as I said before, you need these information: the author's name, date, title, and the source. And then if you have 3 or more authors, you would use you would write the first author's name, comma, et al, dot. So that it's not, it's like, I just say there's 20 authors. You can't write all of the 20 authors in your essay. That's going to take a long, like a lot of space. So you would just write the first author's names, et al, and then dot, and then the title, the year, and the page. So up to 20 authors are spelled out in the reference list. So this is in the in-text citation as you're writing, like if we're going back here. So these are 2 authors. So it says this person and this person. But if they were to be 3 or 4 authors, they would probably have a very long name. So you just write the name of the first author, comma, et al, and then dot, and then comma, 2014. But on the reference list, I'll show you also an example of the reference list. It comes at the very end. You can write up to 20 authors' names. And if it is more than 20 authors, you would always also write et al and dot. So publishers, location, these are very specific information that as you write, like as you're referencing, you'll have to go through them. But I have them here. So as I'll give you the example and the website, you can go through this information. So this is an example. So if we're saying we're citing journal article that has this IOB number, the publication number. So you need author's last name, comma, first initial. It can be A or B or like a letter, and then second initial, if there is a second initial, dot, year of publication, title of the article, subtitle, if there's any subtitle to the article. So here, name of the journal and volume number. So you see here it's italicized, and then issue number, first page number, last page, and so on. So basically, this is the guideline that you need to follow. So whenever you're citing book chapter, book or report or website or anything, here are the information that you need to exactly follow. And this is the website that you can find them at. So let's go through it again. So this is an example. So this author's last name is Arnott, and then his first initial is G, second initial D, dot, and then year between brackets 2017, dot, and then the title, the edition, dot, the publisher, and sometimes not all of these informations. Where is that?
Sorry about that. I got disconnected.
No worries. Sometimes not all of these information like that you need here are available. So if they're not available, you just don't include them. So this is an example of a citation. And then this is the mandatory requirement for your written work. Unless the teacher specifies otherwise, all written work must be submitted through Google Classroom. I hope that you've listened to the videos that we sent to learn more about Google Classroom. Includes a title page with student number. I'll give you a sample of the actual assignment. The assignment must be double spaced. Use 12 font New Times Roman. Use 1-inch margins all around. That's the default in Word. Have numbered pages. Use paragraphs and use APA formatting. Sometimes some teachers will say you don't have to use paragraphs. You can use points forms. So they have to be specific. And if they're not, then you would use paragraphs. So now I'm gonna show you a sample. Okay, so this is a sample of a research, like of any assignment. So here you would have full title of research paper, student name, course name, and course code will be given in the course syllabus, teacher's name, and the date. And as you can see, there's the page numbers there. This is what's called the title page. It has only this information. And then now you have full title of research paper. Now you have these paragraphs. And as you can see here, we have these in-text citations. So this author's name is Zhang et al. So et al means there is not just that author, there's many authors. So, and since there are many, we will use the et al. And then dot 2012. And if there's no page number, then you don't include it basically. But for example, if you look at this one here, Jones and Brock, 2 authors, the year and page number. Here, there's no author's name, but the author is actually like an organization or a corporation or a ministry in the government. Then the author is the name of that organization, and then the year. They usually don't have page numbers. So these are in-text citations. And then if you go down, so the references are here. So basically the cooperation that was in-text cited there, 2012, and then company brochure, that's the title, available online, that's the subtitle, and then retrieved from the date. And then if we go to that slide that has all these guidelines, you would see, like, you would find them there. This is an article. And then, for example, here we have a book. It doesn't have all the information that we need, but whatever information is there, we'll cite them. So we have this, the last name of the first author, their first initial, second initial, and the last name of the second author, first and second initial, the year, the title, and then the publisher's name. Remember, this is just an example. So let's look at this that has four authors. So you have 4 authors here. In the in-text citation, we cite it as et al. Because it has more than like 2 authors. So here you'd have to actually write all the names of the authors up until 20 authors. And if there are more than 20, you would write et al. Even in the references, the year, the title, and this actually has these numbers, the publication number and things like that, and DOI number, and like the link is there. Do you guys have any questions about this sample? How to put page numbers? Do you guys know how to put page numbers? Do you want me to show you?
Sure.
Okay, so you click insert here, and then you go all the way to page numbers. You can write it at the top of the page. And then just loading. Yeah, so at the top of the page, you see you can put it on the left side, the middle, the right side. You can choose the middle one. And then you see now it's in the middle. You just have to close header and footer. And now it's there.
Sorry, which software is this?
It's Word.
Oh, so we need Microsoft Word?
Yeah, Microsoft Word. What else? Do you have any questions on this again? So the font is Times New Romans. So what that basically is, sorry, it just froze for a second. Yeah. So what that basically is, you highlight all of your writing, and then you go here, you write Times New Romans, enter, and then 12. And it is now Times New Romans 12. The whole paper has to be that. So sometimes you have more options like Arial, the other options, we're not going to use those. We're just going to use Times New Romans and number 12. I'll also send you this template. So let me just do the last slide, and then if you have, I'll go through some more information. Okay. So contact us if you have any questions regarding any technical difficulties with Google Classroom or any technical matters in the school. You have to contact Shantae Grant. Call this number. Her extension is 7. I don't have her email here, but I will write it down before I send it to you so that you also have her email. If you have any question regarding the content of this presentation, you can contact me. This is my email and phone number and extension. So yeah, that's pretty much it for today's presentation. Does anyone have any questions so far? Did you learn something?
Sorry, can you go on the slide? I was writing the number.
Yeah, I will share with you the PowerPoint presentation, so you have it. Yeah. Does anyone have any questions? It might seem like it's a lot of things to learn, but I'm sure you will get the gist of it as you go.
No, as you mentioned, Raghdah, don't look at the tip of the mountain. Just look at your next step. Because if you look at the tip of the mountain, you start feeling dizzy and you fall.
Yeah. Great point, Mo. That's correct. Okay. So I will, the final thing that I will ask you is, I have the schedule of the first 3 classes. The times are not yet finalized, and I want to kind of get your input on them before we get them finalized, so that it kind of matches with your availability. So let me just write them down. And if you're available at these times, we'll try our best to accommodate your availability and the teacher's availability. But again, like, it's not, sometimes it doesn't work. So we'll try our best. Let me just. So actually there are 4 courses. You just write them down here. So these are the times. So Pastor Brahim, he has course on Thursday, 7:30. Pastor Joe on Tuesdays, 7:30. Pastor Erwan on Mondays, 7:30. And then there's the other course, which is self-learning. You're basically given the content and you have to interact with the content on your own time. So that one is pretty easy. So for the other courses, do you have any comments on the times? It's usually 1 hour, except Pastor Brahim is, I think, 1.5 hours lectures.
For the first one, Pastor Brahim's one, is there any way, because you said you would try to accommodate, is there any way you can do that maybe a little later, at like maybe 11? Because like from 8:30 to 10:20 I have a class, and since you said it will take 1.5 hours, I think I wouldn't be able to attend the whole thing.
Okay, so what about earlier than 7:30?
Is that 7:30 in the morning?
No, in the night.
Oh, this is
okay.
PM.
Oh, okay, then I have no problem with any of them.
No problem?
I thought it was the morning.
Okay.
Tuesday will be in the same time of the meeting. And I don't know. Usually Thursday is not a good evening for me, but if it's everybody good, so I'll try.
Okay. Okay, sounds good. So this week, expect to get an email with the final dates and times of the classes. And as you're getting that email, there will be some instructions on how to sign up for classes and what's the difference between like core classes and electives. It will be some more information on the schedule and the classes. And until then, make sure to watch the videos that we've sent in the email about Google Classroom so that you're aware of the platform and how it is used. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us, me or Shante, at any time, or send us an email. And one final thing is, we have been sending emails through like to your emails. I think we've sent 2 emails in the last 3 or 4 weeks. Did everyone receive all the emails, or are you having problems receiving the emails?
No, I received one email from a link and one email from you, just verifying. And that was the 2 emails I got. But then Pastor Ibrahim said, texted me and said, did you open your email? I said, yeah, because apparently you guys have a read, or when somebody reads the email, you can see it, or?
Yeah, we can see it. But my question is like, are you guys able to see the email from your end, or is it going to your spam folder?
No, I've been seeing the emails, no problem.
Okay.
At first it was going to the spam, but now it comes to my inbox with a new email.
Okay, I see. Yeah, if it is going to the spam, make sure to mark it as important so that you always get notification when we send out emails. Another idea is, this is just an idea. Do you guys think that if we create a WhatsApp group for the students to just communicate on this administrative stuff, would that be helpful as well?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Sure. And it's a great idea, but if we limit the chat because and make the administrative questions in person, not in the group chat.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We'll see about that one. So it's just an idea for now.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So how long these courses you gave us? I think 3. We have 3 courses in the beginning. How long? How many weeks we will have them, and when they're gonna end?
So different courses have different durations. I can't answer you right now, but as we send the email with the actual times and dates, it has all the information that you need to know. So just to make things easier, I can go through the, one of like samples of a course syllabus so that when you receive the email with the course dates and times, you will also receive the course syllabus. So let me just explain it to you real quick so that you know what to expect. I think that would answer a lot of your questions. Let me just share my screen real quick. It shouldn't take a long time. So this is a sample of a course syllabus. So the teacher's name, you'll have also the credit value and the title, and if it is a fall or winter class, the teacher's name, email, the times of the class, place are just basically Google Classroom and Google Meet. And then here you have the major themes of the course, and then course learning objectives. The teacher has provided all of these. Course format, again, it's online Google Classroom and Google Meet. Course requirements, if you require any courses to take before this course, some of the courses need that, some of them don't. So here it doesn't, no prerequisites. Then here it gives you a breakdown of the assessment, evaluation, and grading. So for example, for this course, you have 25% of your final grade is in the preparation, participation, discussion during class time. You have a book reflection assignment, and that's worth 25%, gives you some ideas of the assignment. And then there is a paper assessment, also the final assignment of the class. It gives you due dates. Like due dates is still to be determined, but like amount of words and obviously like what is the assignment. And then the grading system, I think that's pretty much known. So from 90 to 100% is A+, and moving on. Late works, if you submit an assignment late one day, this is the policy here. Obviously, late work does not apply if there's like medical emergencies or difficulties. So here gives you the required and recommended readings. So for this class, there's only one book that is for the class to be read. And then, sorry, my computer is kind of getting frozen. Yeah, and then this is just like, it's still work in progress, so you don't see the dates here, but you see the breakdown of the weeks. So this course is 6 weeks, and then the subject of each week, and then the required reading. So it has outlined by the chapters from the book. And then there's 2 weeks that has no readings. And then just a general statement about academic integrity and academic honesty. We have kind of went through like over that today. And then if you have any questions or facing any difficulties, technical difficulties, you contact Shante. If you have any questions regarding the content of the course, you know, you are supposed to contact the teacher himself or herself. So this is an outline that you will receive for each course. So that will give you a really good idea.
How many courses do you have to choose at one time?
It depends on on the term. I think it's 4 courses, but I think you can choose more. I can't give you a solid answer because I'm not yet sure, but definitely as we communicate with you guys during this week with more information, I think these questions will be answered.
Okay.
Regarding the books, my understanding is going to be provided, but can we get a list of the names of the books for the courses? I like to use actual books, not digital copy. So right. I can hurry up and order it before the course starts.
Yeah. So when we send the course syllabus, it will have the name of the course, the name of the book. So that's when you get the name and you can purchase it online. Most of the courses, like the readings are found online, but some courses you have to actually purchase a book, but it's not that expensive, and it stays with you, and you can use it later on. So it's in the course syllabus, these information regarding the readings. Okay, if no more questions, we are done for today. It was nice meeting all of you, and I'm sure you met each other. It's gonna be great.
Have a good day, everybody.
Have a good day, everybody. Bye.